Hi, my name is Jonathan and welcome to my channel. I'm currently an ATPL integrated student at BAA training, and on this channel I'd like to take you along on my journey of becoming a professional pilot during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this first video, I'd like to talk about some of the challenges I faced before even starting training here in Vilnius, Lithuania. Now, I had a feeling quite early on that I'd probably have to go through some sort of isolation when moving here, because Lithuania's entry restrictions were always amongst the harshest within Europe, and sure enough, they got even harsher in the weeks prior to my arrival. They required 14 days of mandatory isolation and a negative COVID test result presented on entry. That actually presented quite a challenge for me because I had booked my flights on a Monday, and that basically meant, since the test could not be older than 72 hours at the time, I basically had to get tested on a weekend in Austria, which at the time wasn't easy. Now, the decision to even start training now in general, of course, was also not an easy one, but I'll talk more about that in an upcoming video. Now, let's see what I had to say at the end of my quarantine. My 14 days of quarantine here in Lithuania are about to end, so it's time for a quick recap. To be honest, I was dreading quarantine quite a bit because moving away from your friends and family for the first time surely isn't easy during normal times, but during this pandemic I think it's even worse, since I don't even know when people will be able to come visit me or when I can go back home again. But actually it wasn't half as bad. Sure, sitting alone in this apartment for 14 days isn't the most fun you could have, but I spent some time at home in advance thinking about things that I could do during quarantine to make time pass a bit more quickly and to even spend it productively. And I can really only highly recommend that for anybody who knows that they'll be quarantined for a while in advance. A big factor for me was also that I had a constant contact with my friends and family at home. We checked in sometimes multiple times a day, which made the whole situation just a lot less lonely. And also, I had the chance of contacting some of my future colleagues in advance, even before the start of training, so that was a huge plus as well. The moving itself was fairly straightforward too. Even though I couldn't actually visit Lithuania in advance to look at apartments, I settled on this one just solely by looking at online ads. And it actually worked out really well, and getting the keys was fairly straightforward too. Now, not everything went perfectly according to plan. Some things in this apartment were broken or missing completely, but after a bit of coordination I got everything I needed for the 14 days. Since I wasn't allowed to leave the apartment, I had to order all of my food and groceries online. And I was a bit worried about that in the beginning too, because I knew that at home that would sometimes probably lead to some issues. However, I was really surprised because it actually all worked brilliantly here. So brilliantly in fact that I'm even thinking about continuing to use the service even after quarantine for a couple of months, at least partially, because it's really convenient and works perfectly. I couldn't get everything online, especially larger items were usually not part of the shipping service, but I wasn't missing anything particularly important. But still, the first thing I'm gonna do now is going shopping. And that's what I'm about to head off now, since my quarantine is officially over since 5 minutes. Thank you, past Jonathan, for screwing up that last sentence so perfectly, but oh well. Entry restrictions are changing quite a lot at the moment, almost weekly, so as of shooting this video, there are different entry restrictions in place, but in general, it is definitely something to take into consideration when starting training now. That was all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any feedback, questions or anything else, just send me a message or leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.